Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use Photopea today to make yourself a selfie with a background of your choice. Okay, and to do that, I'm going to click New Project. Now, the advantage of Photopea is that it is on all of your Chromebooks. So if you don't have sophisticated software on your computer, it is available as an extension. You'll just have to go to the web store and look for Photopea. Okay, I'm going to leave all the defaults in place and click Create and leave the background as white. Okay, so this is where we start. Over here, what you do is you have your layers, okay, and a history of the things that you've done, because you can undo. A shortcut for that is Control-Z. So you can see those there. These are the tools that you have in place. I'm not going to explain all of them in an advanced way, but Move tool, a Select tool. Okay, these are also select tools, and we'll use them. This is a cropping tool. The color dropper, if you want to paint, like with the paintbrush, with a certain color, then you can grab it by clicking on the color on the screen. So if you have a picture and you want a color with the same color, then you use the eyedropper tool for there. Okay. Spot healing and clone tools are for like erasing things from the background. We're not going to get that advanced today. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open and place. Okay, I'm going to start with the background. Okay, so for me, I have a folder where I have backgrounds. Okay, and the one that I'll use today is, let's go with the school as a background. Okay, open. All right, so it takes a while. I can resize the background. Watch that you don't distort it too much. Okay, but just fixing it a little bit, I can also rotate it here. If you can see my icon changes to rotating. I'm just gonna be happy with that, okay? And when I'm done, I'm gonna hit the check mark. Okay, so that kind of locks it in. Now you'll notice that it's another layer, okay? So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring in, open in place, like a selfie image, okay? So I'm gonna look for, I think I have one on my desktop. Okay, so me and my dog. All right, so now what that did is that placed it on top of the other layer. Okay, now I can reorder these just like Google Slides, okay, to put one on top of the other. But this is the one that I want, okay? And I can move it where I want it to be, but right now I'm just gonna leave it there, okay? And what I wanna do is I wanna delete out the background so that the layer behind it shines through, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a variety of select tools. Now, you might get away with object select, okay? And if the computer knows what you want, because you have a high contrast picture, the object select might work for you. So I'm going to click and put me and my dog in the crosshairs and see if it likes it. So as you can see, it's pretty good, okay? And I could choose that if I wanted to, but it would look like I'm just kind of like floating there. So if I want to choose more of myself and more of my dog, then I have to get a little bit more creative with the tools. Okay, so for now, I'm going to select and deselect, okay? And so I clear out my selection, and what I'm going to use instead is a quick select, okay, and click. Now, when I do this, it asks me if I want to rasterize my picture, because it's not going to let you edit any picture from the internet or maybe a picture that you take. So it's not really sure if that's what you want to do. So I'm going to click OK to this. And now I should be able to edit the picture as needed. Okay, so I clicked the yellow coat and it's pretty good at guessing, right? But it didn't get my dog's scarf. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, this is mode plus and mode minus, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fix the selection. So I'm going to leave it in the plus mode. I'm going to come here and click the scarf. Okay, so that worked pretty well. But I'm still kind of missing this outside part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, Control plus, use my pan to move it. Okay, I'm not going to use my move tool because that actually moves the picture. The pan, which is the hand, allows me to change my perspective. So I'm going to go back to my brush tool, positive and see if it's zoomed in, if it'll guess a little bit better. There we go. So we got the scarf this time. Nice. Okay. But what we do have here is we have the chair kind of that my dog's sitting on in the way. So I'm going to see if I can zoom in again, pan, and remove that as part of the selection. So I'm going to switch back to this, and I'm going to choose the minus to try to get rid of it. All right. So there, I'm going to see if we can get the snow there. All right. So that works pretty good. All right. So now what we have is we have the whole outside, everything selected, real nice. All right. You can see that by the dotted line. But if I hit delete, it's going to delete my dog and I. So what I want to do at this stage is now that I have myself and my dog selected, okay, I'm going to choose the select tab. And I'm going to choose inverse. And what that does is that flips the selection to everything in the outside. So when I hit delete on my keyboard, ta-da, it gets rid of that whole background, okay? Now, as you can see, we still have a little bit of snow in there. So I'm going to choose select, deselect, or Control D. And I'm going to see if the magic wand won't select all that white for me. So the magic wand works pretty good for selecting smaller areas, okay? Again, select, deselect. So that looks pretty good. Okay, we have the little white outline out there, but I'm not gonna mind about that too much, okay? So I'm still on the layer with me and my dog, okay? And I'm gonna, for a minute, just turn off the backgrounds so that I can see this. Okay, so now I can move myself around, okay? And I can position myself where I want to be. I like it in this bottom corner because kind of my arm reaches off the screen, and it would look weird if I were like in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to put it back down to this corner where I originally had it. Okay, and I'm going to choose instead of image transform, I'm going to go to edit, transform. Okay, and this gives me a few more options, and the one that I want is scale. Okay. So I'm going to turn back on the background, but I'm going to leave this layer selected so I can go edit, transform, scale, so that I can resize this and maybe put it in a different spot. Okay, so there I am outside Main East, me and my dog in the foreground. Okay, I'm not done yet, but I do like where this is positioned, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to hit check. Okay, now there's one last thing that I want to do. So if I wanted to make this like my Google Meet, my Google Image icon, or even my Zoom icon, it's gonna focus in on like the center part circle and not necessarily me and my dog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this image to make it smaller. Okay, and when I use the crop tool, okay, I'm going to draw a square around what I want, and I'm going to hit check. So what that's going to do is that's going to make it even smaller. To position myself at the center, okay, and get rid of this glare from the sun, I think I'm going to choose an even smaller portion, but still include my dog and I, and hit check. Okay, so there I am. There's a selfie for me and my dog outside Main East on a brisk day. Okay, so this could be my Google Meet and or Zoom image when I log into those things. So there's one last step, and that is to convert it to something that those software packages like Zoom or Google can use. So I'm going to choose export, and I'm going to choose PNG. Okay, we like PNGs because if you email it or resize it, it doesn't pixelate as much as like a JPEG might. So I'm going to click save, okay, and export as PNG. Okay, so these were the steps that I choose save, and as you can see, the default for the computer I'm on, it goes to my downloads. So there it is. There's my picture, which now I can use and upload into Zoom or Google. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about this process, or if you get stuck on any of the tools. Okay, so hopefully this will help you out and you have fun creating this.